All right, folks, I guess we can get started. So we'll let others join in, but we'll keep this contrib contrib uh, contributors and maintainers meet call short. Let me just stop sharing once and share the entire screen. All right, so this is the agenda. We have a very short agenda today. We were a bit slow on the feature implementation front, so we are pretty busy with some of the open source programs at the moment, like GSOC and LFX and stuff. So we wanted to give like a quick update on that. And then a lot of people have asked questions or had questions which they were asking on GitHub discussions and issues. So this could be one forum to clear them out. But just a heads up for today's call. So we'll mostly be discussing on the LFX tasks, the 3 tasks that we have listed the platform, and go sort of in depth on the implementation or what we're looking for, and then clear out if there's any questions further. So that's it. We will have more updates on the next call, which are feature or implementation or roadmap related. But for today, this is the discussion. All right. So just a quick note for people watching it later that we do the contrib and maintainers call every second and fourth Thursday of the month. And we have another call, the community call, on every third Wednesday of the month. So we have 3 calls in total in a month for people who are new and for people who recently joined Slack and were asking for the calendar link. So this is our cadence, and that's what we try to follow. So let's get started. So firstly, we wanted to discuss on the CI/CD LFX issue that we have listed here. So for people who are new to LFX and do not typically apply, or this is the first time they are applying, so you have to go to the mentorship link of LFX, mentorship.lfx Linux Foundation, and we can just filter through LitmusChaos or just filter through the orgs and you'll find the project. And then you can click on apply, and that should show you who are the mentors. And like once you are in this page, they will show you the expected outcome of this, who are the mentors, and you can just apply. There's a 2-step process where you apply with your resume and fill in a little bit of your details, and by the end of it, the maintainers or the mentors sort of get the notification and you get your result 1 week after. So the deadline, the timeline for this effectively is also mentioned here as well. So this is the Litmus repo, the main repo where you have the issues, the 3 LFX issues listed. This is one of them, and if I open this one specifically, so the schedule is 3rd March to 30th May for the whole program, but the mentees, whoever are planning to apply, can apply up until 18th of Feb. So that is the overall deadline for application. As you can see, it went live on the 5th, so you can already start applying. So if I have to talk about the CI/CD task, so what we are looking for in this, as I've already mentioned, is we want to sort of have our CI, the chaos CI lib, at par with Litmus 3.x. We want to align the chaos CI lib with the Litmus 3.x standard so that we can also do CI or pipeline chaos with 3.x standards. So if I have to go in a little depth of what you will exactly do, it's basically creating an SDK, which will be a new SDK, by the way. So this will be a Chaos CI SDK. And this SDK would be created for the Chaos CI lib, and it'll also expand beyond so that it can support other integrations. For now, we can start with Terraform because that is also another area we are planning to explore and integrate as part of GSOC or further future roadmap items. It's also mentioned as part of the roadmap item, but this is one way we are heading towards looking at it from this angle. So an SDK which can implement, where you can implement authentication and experiment execution APIs, which can help with all sort of generation and everyday activity, and you can expand more on it. Some similar to how we are doing the Java SDK, and also we already have the LitmusChaos SDK. So similarly, we have to create an SDK on top of this Chaos CI, which can help with these uh, pipeline chaos. So once we have the SDK, we'll sort of use that SDK to modify the CI lib. So the CI lib will sort of remove certain steps. You need to modify the current flow of it because with 3.x, a lot of things have changed on the flow, user flow, as well as the backend, the execution plane flow. So we'll sort of modify them accordingly with the help of the SDK and the QI lib. And we want to enable direct invocation of pre-built experiments instead of using the older flow. So now we have trimmed down a lot of things. We have native workflows. So we probably want to integrate those directly rather than relying solely on the older action flow. So that is one way, by creating multiple images, using them as part of the pipelines, using the newer SDK images as part of the pipeline to bring in the APIs and bring in the business logic for our pipelines. And lastly, when we are done with the CI lib modification and with the SDK modification, SDK creation, we move on to the actions and templates and the different parameters that need templates. For now, we can start with GitHub Actions and GitLab templates. So if I have to over to the GitHub Chaos action, so this is one example. So this is where you can find in the experiment, this is the different types of experiments we have. And if I open any one of them, for example, then you will see these are the templates. So we would have to modify the templates, the parameters of this accordingly, according to our changes in the CI lib. So this is one integration effort that we'll also require after we do the modification. And this will be similar for the GitLab template as well. So this is specifically for GitHub. Um, modifications in the parameters based on how we change in GitLab and the others as well. And based on the time, we can also expand it to the other action, other places, other markets or things. So that is the task on the CI/CD integration, which is one of the primary ones that we are targeting for this LFX term. And your mentors will be Vedant and Shubham. Vedant is already here, and Shubham will be a commenter as well along with Vedant. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask him. The handles are already mentioned in the GitHub issues, but they're also available on Slack. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Also, you can ask at the end of the call as well. So this is one, and like I mentioned, you can click on apply and just fill out the form, and you should be able to apply for this. Right. The other one is one on the documentation, which I wanted to mention. So this is modifying our current docs, or like enhancing our current docs to incorporate community tutorials more into the official tutorials. And it is like a way for us to curb the amount of community scattered content we have. So we love the fact that we have so many community scattered content, but it's better to have like a generalized flow of a day zero, day one, and day two user. So we would not typically create documentation for or tutorials for a single experiment flow because that is bound to change and it's very difficult to maintain that way. So we'd instead rather have a day zero flow, a day one, and a day two flow, where for a day zero user, you might have very basic like execution. For day one, you would probably have a little bit higher like modification or a custom chaos. And for day two, you might have everything else plus the observability and monitoring and integration of other APM tools as well. So you can do a complete flow from start to from scratch to final observability with customized chaos with hub and private chaos hub and GitOps and whatnot. So day two would be the more advanced one, and day zero would be the basic one. So we currently have a potato head, which we consider as a day zero event, like a day zero tutorial. So we'll modify that or add to that so that it can be converted to one. But yeah, we are open to more ideas. So this is a general idea uh, of creating user flow based guides. So the expected outcome is to structure the content, like I said, improve the documentation clarity so that we can also reduce the redundancy of other similar efforts out there. And last is we want to also target this user flow in such a way that it is ideal for different persona, because if I target it for a developer, it might be written in a different way, or you might follow things a different way. You might want a dev guide or something for a day zero user, for a day zero developer. And for an SRE, you might want a day zero flow where you can know how to monitor things better. So we'll sort of target these personas and sort of create multiple chunks of this. And through this, we are also planning to eliminate a lot of the tech doc analysis feedback that we got. So a lot of the issues are still open. We want to curb those issues and figure out a better way to mitigate those issues with the help of a mentee, one or more mentees. So this detail is also mentioned as part of the issue. And if we go over to the Litmus docs, this would be the primary repository where people enrolling in this, the mentees enrolling in this will work on. So feel free to explore this repository as well as part of your, if you're exploring it. And lastly, we want to talk about the observability one. So right now, if I have to go back to the pull request where we implemented it. So we recently implemented OpenTelemetry for distributed tracing. So right now it's already instrumented as part of our flow, OpenTelemetry, and we use it as part of Chaos Runner and Chaos Operator. But it needs more work because we still have a lot of improvements, and we still have a lot of sub repos where we want to integrate, or sub components rather, of Litmus where we would want to integrate telemetry and take out the data. If I go back to this one, so basically we want to add the span instrumentation. So we want to make them more detailed. Currently, it's not that detailed, and this would help us to improve the way we trace things and also track our errors better. Right now, it's very simple. We want to enhance that further, and also for the hotel collector. So we do not seamlessly collect the logs today. So we want to export the logs to the hotel collector so that we can again track things better with OpenTelemetry. And right now it's limited to certain components that Litmus uses. We want to expand that further and just improve the coverage for observability. So it's very compact now. We want to expand. So this is more of a feature enhancement sort of a request task as part of this LFX, and this will be in Golang completely. So that is a good to have prerequisite because we'll be working with a lot of Go code. So if you have Go prerequisite like Golang already in your arsenal, then that would be great. And if I just come over to the issue, so the same thing has been explained here as well, and the mentors and everybody who will be working on this is also mentioned. So feel free to check out the issues, and that is basically all the work we are planning. And it's not really an extensive uh, list of everything we want to do. If we finish early, we have a bunch of other sub tasks around the same which we can work on. But this is overall an overview of what we are planning as part of the LFX. So yeah, that is what I had for today. You can apply to each of these tasks separately, whichever appeals more to you. You can check out the issue of LitmusChaos main repo, and you would find the LFX mentorship tag associated with it, and you can see the different sections for observability, for CI, and for docs. So feel free to check them out and apply to whichever. The deadline is 18th Feb, so you have time until then to figure things out and see if it fits. If you have any questions, I'd love to take them. All right. I see Yash has joined in for the first time, and thanks, Yash, for joining in. You can introduce yourself on the chat as well. And if you have any questions for LFX specifically or for Litmus, feel free to let us know. But this recording will also be available on YouTube from tomorrow. So you can go through it once more if you want to get more details on the individual tasks. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Cool. If not, that is all I had for the contribution meeting today. Thanks everyone for joining. I hope to see you again on next community call. Thanks. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.